but also welcome a number of you who have been at Kororo for the past few days. I welcome you back from whatever you have been doing there. I know you have been doing a noble job, good for this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen amazing, incredible things today. The level of discussions, the level of intellectual prowess is getting up there. And now, even if I retire knowing I have made my contribution and I can fold my gloves and get to go to another destination. I want to thank the organizers, and I want to thank you and salute you for the departure from demonstrations on streets to dialogue in boardrooms. That's the way to go. That's what civilized people do. They don't demonstrate, they sit down and exercise their intellectual brains, articulate issues. And so I thank you for that departure. I want to thank you for the departure from using muscle power to exercising intellectual discourse and prowess. I want to thank you for the departure from being restless to being calm, composed, but resolute. I want to thank you for the departure from looking at the surface of issues to subjecting issues to intellectual scrutiny. And I want to thank you for the departure from complaining to providing alternative pathways. Alternative pathways. It doesn't help us to just complain. If you complain, then you should say, I think we need to go this way. And Onesimus, who was chairing the last panel, thank you, because you kept on pinning, tell us, what would you do different? I think that's what we want to do, alternative pathways. I want to thank you for the departure from being onlookers to being prayers and drivers of change and enemies of socio-economic transformation. And I want to thank you for the departure from being copycats to being innovators, thinkers, creators of wealth, and not simply gatherers of wealth. I saw all that here flowing. The ladies, the gentlemen who sat there. Can we clap for them? That's the type of intellect that we need in the 21st century. The intellect that looks at issues, debate issues, and provide alternatives. You must be framers, you must be innovators, not copycats. Doing the same things, the same way over and over again, and expecting different results. Barack Obama says that's the height of madness. That if you do the same things over and over again and expect different results, then you qualify to go to Utarika for psychiatric attention. But in here, amazingly, I thank you. Money will come. I'm equally excited, like many other people have said, that the issues raised in the manifesto are being guided by critical thinking, evidence-informed, and intellectually presented by brilliant, celebrated young people. The issues are indeed consistent with the provisions of the 4th National Development Plan. They are consistent with the Sustainable Development Goals. They are consistent with the African Union Agenda 2063, and they are indeed consistent with the African Youth Charter 2006, the National Youth Policy 2016, but also consistent with the National Employment Policy and Action Plan that are before Cabinet as I speak now. And some of the issues that Elizabeth have raised, including the issue of internship, they are within this new National Employment Policy for the Republic of Uganda and the National Action Plan for the Republic of Uganda. we have come up with something comprehensive that would look at the different areas, including the things you have mentioned here. The creative industry. The creative industry is the fastest growing industry in the world, which employs millions of young people. And we have started seriously. When you look around and you see what you are seeing in Nambole, you look at that field. When you see what is happening in Hoima, when you see what is happening in Kapchora, the high altitude stadium, a lot of investment is going into upgrading the areas where the young people have to exercise what they do better. Peace and security. I was already whispering to my big sister, Elizabeth, that the Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace and security, we have already started coming up with the National Action Plan that will engage the young people on issues of peace, youth and security, consistent with the UN Security Council Resolution 2250. And she has, let's clap for her, she has said she's going to look into the issue of developing this comprehensive action plan. On issues to do with participation, I think Uganda has been a star performer. A star performer, and we need to congratulate Uganda. You know, when we first proposed the issues of youth going to parliament, they say the government of Uganda has run out of ideas. How can you take younger, inexperienced people into the parliament of Uganda? But I was happy even the other day when they chose one of the second members being a former National Youth Council Finance Secretary. And so, these councils have groomed people. The Youth Council, we have here the chief guest, none other than Jacob Eru, very powerful man. And you listen to him, you understand what I'm talking about. So Article 78 of the Constitution that provides for youth representation in Parliament, Article 32 in the Constitution that talks about affirmative action, the Local Government Act 1997 that talks about youth representation at every level of management of local governance. All these are places that provide young people with an opportunity to participate in the governance of the country. I've also seen in the SEC, in the NEC of the different parties, their provisions for the young people. Can I talk about WUSA? WUSA is another area. Then there's so many civil society organizations. So I think on youth participation, we can do much more, but something has already been done. I've seen agro-industrialization, and somebody talked about sexual reproductive health. I agree with you. I think we need to do much more than we are doing in investing in sexual reproductive health. And let me inform you that already the Minister of Education is taking lead in coming up with a national health education and life skills framework for adolescents and youth. And this is an opportunity for us to ensure that the needs of the young people in as far as sexuality education is concerned is dealt with. We have moved away from the word sexuality because many religious leaders didn't want to hear that word. They said we are being funny. We want to teach young people bad manners. So we have said, okay, if the word causes goosebumps in you, let's use health education and life skills for the young people. After all, yeah, you have to look for a way of sanitizing society and being on the same program. But the reason I talk about SRH is because of the high population growth of our country. Today we stand at 45.9. That's the population of Uganda. 45.9 million. In 1948, Uganda had 4.9 million human beings. 4.9 human beings in 1948. In 2024, we are 45.9 million. In 2050, Uganda will have a population of 80 plus million people. And the land of Uganda is not going to expand. It's going to remain the same. And that is also happening in the whole of Africa, because in 1980, Africa had 487 million people. In 2015, Africa rose to 1.2 billion people. June 18th, 2025, Africa's population stands at 1.54 billion people. And by 2050, Africa will be home to 2.4 billion people. So, talking about innovation, we have to be extremely innovative and creative to be able to live on this same space of land, but be productive, create enough food, and do everything that we need to do. Human capital development has been emphasized. These are issues that we are emphasizing. But somebody said, and I want to make this comment before I invite the chief guest. He said, youth are marginalized. With all those structures, with all the investment, who is marginalizing who? Because sometimes we marginalize ourselves by not taking advantage of what is available. And let me quote the man I really admire. This is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, that I quote, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Nobody can stand on you unless you move on bended knees." So we should stop marginalizing ourselves. Let's wake up and take advantage of the opportunities that are available and make ourselves better. Better today, but also better tomorrow. Can I end with what Comrade Mugabe said? Comrade Mugabe of Zimbabwe said, "Nobody is useless. Even bad people are a good example of bad people." So if you decide to be bad, it's also your option. You can be used as a good example of bad people. And people will know you have to avoid being like that man because he's a bad person. So once again, I want to thank the people who organized this dialogue. But also, I thank you for the maturity of discussion. Yes, I've been around for some time. I'm a product of the National Youth Council, and I'm seeing a new discourse, new impetus, and I'm seeing young people taking up the space they're supposed to take up. I was watching, because I'm apolitical, my friend, I can't, so I couldn't come to Namboli, I couldn't come to Kororo, because I'm a public servant. But one thing I noticed is that so many young people were offering themselves for leadership. And when I look at the posters around, young people are taking advantage. And so, please do it. It's Nelson Mandela who said there is no easy walk to freedom. Take the chances that are there. Occupy the spaces that are there. You can take the cow to the well, but you cannot force it to drink. The opportunities are there. Let's take advantage of those opportunities. Now,